This graphic is brutal to watch, but it's also necessary to show what happens when unchecked police power is at play. So with that said, please be mindful that this graphic is that a police recruit loses his legs, both of them, in police school in a hazing incident. Victor Moses, dreaming of becoming a Denver police officer, or dreams of becoming a police officer, were shattered after the recruit was ordered to go through a barbaric hazing ritual that led to the amputation of both his legs, as well as the ability to ever care for himself. Moses is suing, accusing the Denver Police Department of covering up the hazing ritual known as Fight Day by claiming he had an undisclosed medical condition known as sickle cell trait that led to the amputation of both legs below the knee. This is a rough story. But rather than providing that necessary training for recruits, the complaint argued that four-stage event has become barbaric by making recruits endure extreme exertion while being subjected to a series of violent assaults. The suit added, Moses, who alerted officials on a police application form that he had a sickle cell trait, was allegedly repeatedly attacked by multiple Denver Police Department officers as Denver Health and Hospital Authority paramedics watched, tolerated, and enabled the officers. This is according to People Magazine. People Magazine continued with saying that the complaint, Moses' head was slammed onto a tile floor even as his blood pressure crashed. The lawsuit said Moses repeatedly collapsed and lost consciousness and reported experiencing extreme cramping and fatigue and was so incapacitated he could not stand up, walk, or even walk with assistance. Man, I don't even need to keep going with these quotes because they just keep getting grotesque and grotesque. He was pressured by police and cleared by paramedics to endure even more until he was finally transported to the hospital unconscious, facing death, the suit alleged. Tehran, this is beyond disgusting. This is not even hazing. This is just torture at this point. And if you think being police require you to go through your head being slammed through a tile floor and you having to stand after 3 and 4 times of falling, after trying to stand, after losing consciousness while medical professionals are sitting right there. This is what's wrong with policing in America. This is not a bad apple. I'm not talking a bad apple scenario. And I think that's where people get off. This is how police departments continue in this behavior. This is not about an individual or individuals. This is about a systemic problem. The idea that police officers were doing this to other people who wanted to be police officers and then cried that they have a brotherhood that does not allow you to tell about it, and also that medical professionals were sitting there watching this, speaks to the problematic nature of policing. And if this is your behavior towards other people who want to be police officers, then what are we to expect you to do to regular citizens when you stop them for whatever you think? Or like the judge said, when they disrespect you? You're gonna slam their head through the floor too, probably.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
Mayor Robinson, that last point was extremely poignant. If this is what you do to other police officers, what will you do to a citizen? The idea is not only is this systemic, but it's also symptomatic, a symptomatic of a much larger problem. Here we have hazing, which is a problem. I don't even understand how that still exists in this modern day. Secondly, we have a bunch of police officers hazing, which is even worse because it's the people who are in task with protecting us, who are directing us towards this violence. And now what do we see? Out of that crowd, people are good, but it's crowds I'm always afraid of. Not a single police officer in that crowd stood up and said, this is wrong, we need to stop. We need to stop this. Moses is obviously being endangered. Let's stop this. With any of these rookies, let's stop this. Not a single one of these people in task with that duty did such a thing. Lastly is the idea that not only is this once again symptomatic of and systemic of police brutality, but that violent culture protected by the blue wall of silence, something that's the most disheartening, the most damaging to the police officers. is because of that blue wall, that omerta that police officers have between each other, which we tell the public, if you see something, say something. But when they see something, they say nothing.
Hmm. And then they're backed up by this horrible police union that goes along with whatever they're doing, and then also supporting these so-called bad actors, man. We can keep on going with this story and how bad it is, because in a press release, this is what Moses had to say. Just like you said, nobody's thought to protect Moses. This is what Moses said he learned from the police departments. In a statement, he said his life has been turned upside down after the devastating incident. I could not believe how aggressive and violent these trainers were. He explained in the release, it's like they were angry and trying to hurt us. Several recruits, not just me, were hurt during the fight day drills. Several people were hurt during the fight day drills. This didn't teach us anything about being a good police officer. It was pure brutality. People went on to say that he was hospitalized for the next 4 months and underwent numerous surgical and medical procedures, including multiple fascotomies. Yes, sir. I just made that word up. And extensive dialysis. Both of his legs were amputated below the knee. Below the knee. Moses' statement further noted, I was a healthy, athletic, energetic person looking forward to an honest career in law enforcement. My God. Now I'm picking up the pieces and coming to the grips with a life of disabilities. I have no idea what my future holds. I have no idea what my future holds. This is what happens to someone, or happened to someone who went to police academy to be a police officer looking for an honest career. How in the hell is this possible in these United States? Why is this not a national story? Why is CNN talking about Donald Trump's crowd sizes and not this? How am I just hearing about this story on this show this day? This is why TYT and especially Indisputable is so important. This story has not been on anybody's radar. It's disgusting that this person has this reality trying to put their life back together, Tehran.
I'm a person who reads and reads, and even I found it extremely difficult to find more information on this story. There's clearly some type of cover up that is going on right now. And the only silver lining that I could possibly see in this disgusting, despicable action story is simply that, unfortunately, in the history of humanity, a tragedy has to occur in order to set a precedent for reform and change. For some reason, we can just never learn until the stove is touched. So every single sign you see in an elevator where it says 4 people on this elevator is because there was one time 5 people got on and it fell. So this tragedy, the only silver lining is that hopefully this is the tragedy that leads to the reform that we have been so desperately needing in the police academies and policing systems across the United States.